What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Football and Random Things. We're back from a brief hiatus.
I apologize for that. That's on me. That's on me.
Kind of
I'm
on
sorry.
Jeff. He's,
Sorry about that, guys.
Jeff's a dad now. My name's still Connor. You're still Colin, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Still
So everyone
Colin.
else is we're all set here. Before we get started and back into things, I do have to give a big shout out to Wiffles Hybrids. They are our presenting sponsor here at Fart, and I got to read this. At Wiffles Hybrids, we do 100 things just a little bit better. From our independent corn breeding program to our in-house customer support team, we're committed to your success. Plant your future with Wiffles Hybrids.
Wow.
It's powerful.
It was decent.
It's powerful.
I'm ready for the damn autos on Liberty Bowl.
I'm excited.
Oh crap! I screwed this up. You have a kid now. We
Yeah.
need to talk about that first.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's
My
fine.
bad. I love bowl games. I got too excited. I jumped
She's great. Little baby girl, Nell, and she's for the most part sleeping. For the most part, just you got to figure out what the fuss is for. Which it's I have to fart, I have to burp, I'm tired, or I'm hungry. Like those one of the four things that she's probably gonna fuss for, and figure that out. And then just 23 of 24 hours in a day, she's exceptionally pleasant, cute, or sleeping. And 1 hour of that cumulatively is her fussing. So you just got to figure out what that's for. But 10 out of 10 would recommend fatherhood. Would recommend.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you came in here with like the most pro fatherhood, like no complaints. I
mean,
it's
like,
like
okay,
completely
so
opposite to anyone else that you talk about being a father.
I would say that the delivery process, and I said this on the first kicking it that we did when we came back, the delivery process, that was exceptionally stressful. And I also said, like I said it then, but I'll say it again. PSA, God bless nurses, God bless doctors, God bless CNAs. I mean, everybody that works in healthcare, because I mean, for you guys, my wife had really bad preeclampsia to the point where we checked into the hospital. They're supposed to schedule the induction, which that process is like you start the process on like the night before, and then maybe hopefully you get kicked into labor at some point like 12 or 24 hours later. So we checked into the hospital at 7:30 on Sunday night on the 19th, and they take her blood pressure, and preeclampsia is really high blood pressure, which can cause a whole host of other issues. And her blood pressure was sky high. So within 3 hours, our daughter was taken out by C-section because it was that dangerous to leave her in there, because preeclampsia is more or less treated by getting the baby out. So it went from, hey, let's just have this slow process to being like, if we don't take this baby out of your wife, she will have a seizure.
Ooh.
Now. And so like that was the delivery process, and like the time after that was exceptionally stressful. Like that was that I would, knowing now, like if we do have another child down the road, knowing now what to look for, it's a little bit different, but like that was the delivery process, exceptionally stressful. Would not recommend that. Do not recommend. 0 out of 10 would not recommend preeclampsia.
It's all good now.
Baby
All
and
good
mom
now.
are doing well now.
Baby and mom are doing really well. She had to be on a couple medications afterwards to make sure we got everything monitored. Had to go in for a couple more appointments than we otherwise would have. But off of, everybody's off any medication. Everybody's walking around, acting normal. We're good. So
Good.
everything's normal. So fatherhood, great. Getting the kid, the delivery process, do not like. Do not like at all.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Does she know what she's gonna be when she grows up yet?
She's 4 weeks old.
Do you know?
I don't know.
All right. So hockey players still in the cards.
Technically, yes.
All right. Cool. That's all I want to know.
I just don't want to pay for that. Like as a parent, I just don't want to pay for like.
I could tell you to put her in racing.
I
That'd
don't
be
want to pay for
I'm
that either.
saying, I'm giving
You've
you
got
the, I'm
two
giving
most
you the
expensive-
discount sport.
You have like the two most expensive sports. All right, you got to come up with. You have to buy a car and transport that car to all the races, or you got to pay for like traveling to like I don't know Duluth for a Sunday tournament because there's no other places to play hockey.
We need to talk about the inflation of hockey stick prices because those things work.
Yeah, that is.
Let your
money.
child
It's
chase their
insane.
dreams, Jeff.
Child chaser dreams. Oh, that's funny.
Dream chasers.
Yeah, I'm gonna live through. She's gonna play volleyball. Damn it, it doesn't matter.
Oh man, I can picture just about anyone in the world being a parent like that except for you. Like there's absolutely no situation that would come up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But-
yes, it's cool. I enjoy it. One thing I will say though, so like, and people who have either had kids or about to or are in the same stage in this as I am, you get so much less done, even if you quote don't have anything to do. So like a normal situation is kids fussy. Mom, so my wife has been awake with her for, let's call it 7 hours, from like 7 o'clock to like 2 in the afternoon. And she's had to do, breastfeeding, and had to like still, she didn't sleep a ton last night because she had to get up every couple hours. So she's exhausted. So you can kind of get stuff done in the morning if she's doing something, but then she's kind of fussy, and then your wife needs to take a nap, just because that would be horrible if she had to stay up for like 18 straight hours. So you just go hold a baby, and even if she's not fussy and she's like going to sleep, you're just kind of sitting there on the couch with a sleepy baby. Can't really do anything productive. So like the amount of work stuff that I've gotten done, very, very small. Amount of football and movies that I've watched, very high. So this is a period where, as long as you accept the fact that you're not going to get anything done, it's great. Like, you just get to hang out with your kid watching football. Like that, there is so little downside on this.
Has that been easy for you or no?
It took a little bit to get, because I tend to be a person who likes to do go.
Yeah.
So it took like kind of apologize to the people that I would be responsible for getting these work tasks done. So saying like, hey, I'm sorry, man, but like, I'll get this to you by the end of the week.
Yeah.
It normally would
Not
take
by
me
a couple hours.
Yeah, it normally would take 2 hours, but this is going to take me somewhere between 2 hours and 7 days. I have no idea. We'll see. So get used to not doing anything, but once you get used to not doing anything, just get to hang out with your kid, while they sleep, and you kind of stare at them and just oogle at how adorable they are, because everybody's kid is the cutest kid on the planet to them. So it's
How much of your camera roll is your baby now?
a lot.
That's
It's
a good
a
question.
substantial.
I just had a couple more pop into my head. Too.
Substantial amount. I would say a thing that we did with because my brother and sister-in-law have 4 kids, and we just started all of us have iPhones. And so we started an Apple, like a shared album, where you can just, anybody who has a picture of them, you just kind of upload that to that album. And so we started one with just our daughter. So between my wife's phone and my phone, like, there's probably already 600 pictures in there. It's been maybe 4 weeks. So, it's
150 pictures a week. That's not
yeah,
too bad.
I mean, it's not too bad. 600 might be a bit much, but it's not too far off of that.
Have you gotten the baby language down yet?
You actually do, like, fairly quick. You can, it's more based on like a clock, where you can say, it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes since she last ate. So she's not wet. So she's probably hungry.
A good fart 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
middle
and
day.
so it's okay. She's probably hungry, and then you can kind of do this just a little test to see if she like roots around for a pacifier or your finger or something like that. And, yep, she's hungry, and then feed her and takes care of it. So yeah, you learn what the cries mean faster than you think. Like, the problem solving happens really, really naturally. Just, and I would imagine this isn't unique to me, that like when you have a kid, you can kind of be like, oh, this is what they need, like, relatively quickly.
I'm guessing you have exceptional fatherly instincts as well.
I don't know.
He would be the guy to do. People are gonna think I'm like buttering you up, but you are just like such a unique individual person.
Thank you.
I think I texted him to complain about the refs in the last Drake football game. I won't mention the score. It's a really specific complaint I had for Woody, and he just texted me back pictures of his daughter, and I'm like, I can't say anything bad about it. I can't
Like the
put him in a
picture,
bad mood.
swipe out of it.
Okay, yeah.
No, I said the baby was cute and stuff. Like, it was a very like wholesome text to get. But I was like, I texted you to complain specifically about football refs or the playoff or something like that. But no, it's congratulations.
Thank you.
I think I told you that, but
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty, like I said, fatherhood, 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
and you've been getting to watch a lot of bowl season, right?
Oh man, a lot of bowls. Also, this is one thing I didn't realize this. So my wife's uncle has this big pool where like you just pick bowl games, and winner. Yeah,
You didn't tell me? Oh,
and then
I'm like 8-2.
whatever.
Right now. I'm off.
And I'm way on the other side of that. Like,
Really?
because one of the bowl games are so hard to predict,
So
because
hard.
there's like 2 or 3 things that matter more than, at least to me, than the quality of the team. Which one is the give a shit level. Like, if
I agree, but and I will tell you the early bowls are easier from that aspect
of the
When
give a shit level.
Yeah, and when I say my picks are this, like I pick them all the day before the game as the season goes. I used to just pick them all at the start, but now people opted out because some loudmouths on ESPN started complaining that there was too much football. So
You have to pick all of them right out of the gate, and you have to pick all of them like 2 days before the bowls even start.
Yeah,
So like
that's
everyone's
fair.
on the same playing field. But like, give a shit level, like if, let's say, Iowa State at 7-6 is going to play against Oregon in the ReliaQuest Bowl or something like that. Like, Iowa State's a young team. They went through a whole lot. They'd be
They're
excited
gonna
to
be
go
excited.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Oregon, not going to care. Like, so despite the fact that Oregon is probably a higher quality team than Iowa State on paper, I would pick Iowa State in that bowl game because they're going to want to be there. Like you guys had that in the Fiesta Bowl against Oregon, where I think teams were fairly equivalent in that. It wasn't like there was a big discrepancy, but you guys definitely wanted to be there. And at least after the first drive, Oregon had zero desire of being in that game. And so then your give a shit level matters. The next one is opt-outs. Who freaking knows who's going to opt out and how much of an impact that's going to have. So like picking bowl games is like picking the first round of the NCAA tournament. Like,
good luck.
Like you can be, like whatever, like Debbie from accounting on the office pool, like wins the whole thing. And it's like, Debbie's never watched a basketball game in 3 years, but it's the same amount of
she has same amount of knowledge as anyone else. She probably watched, you name the number 16 school that goes for a run that no one's ever watched before, and she's probably watched 7 games of them.
Yeah, so picking bowl games, but it's more fun because then you get to pay attention to them. Like if you have we need Boise State to win here or something like that, then you actually watch that game and pay attention to it. So would enter a bowl pool. It's like the NCAA tournament. It makes it more fun.
Yeah, I think that Iowa State, like, just every school handles bowls differently. Like the prep, like especially right now, like the opt-outs, the transfer portal, like how much time coaches can put in towards it. Like,
I wanted to run my super mega theory by you guys about how we can make bowl games a little more exciting.
Yeah.
Let's just have all the kids that go in the transfer portal. Well, if you get him from the portal before the bowl game, you can use him if you want.
I like the idea.
That'd be badass.
I like William's idea that he had a while ago.
Paying the players, and it goes along with what his is.
Yeah,
I love his idea way better than that one. Mine is really far fetched.
The two things. I mean, it's never going to happen. But the two things that I really like, which his idea was, if you can increase the amount of revenue you get from sponsors, you can start paying the players, and you can pay the players more, and then you can get better matchups. You get better TV draws, which brings more money. Which is the highest paying sponsor gets first pick of all bowl eligible, and then so you can pick Georgia, Florida State, go to town. Well, then you're the highest paying sponsor. Some of that money goes to the players as far as NIL. Next highest paying gets to pick any two. So like you could have an Iowa State bowl game.
That would be so.
Just being able to pick which ones. The downside on that, the flip side, is you're going to end up with some pretty shitty ones towards the bottom of the barrel. You're going to get but you also already have those.
I promise you, when the edible mascot or the big guy in the Famous Toastery NASCAR shows up on the TV, and this guy in a suit's like, here at Famous Toastery, we really care about our customers. It's going to hit different, Jeff. It's still a bowl game. It has that big feel.
But yeah, and there are already some weird, dumb matchups anyway. Like it doesn't.
I don't feel like it. I feel like it would honestly shake out pretty.
Yeah.
The only thing, like maybe some of like the, I don't know.
Ohio's already playing Georgia Southern. Jacksonville State's already playing Louisiana. App State's playing Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, like
Fresno State's
there's
playing
Those are all
matchups.
things that would
State.
naturally happen based on just fan. Like, you know what I mean? Like teams with bigger fan bases typically do better.
Yeah, and so I feel like that would be that is. I love that option. It's never going to happen, but to me, if money talks, like set up that situation because you can pretty quickly get yourself a ton. Because imagine what's the importance of being first or second in line with that. Like that's pretty big. So you can start getting like, whatever these big companies pay for. Anyway, that's a digression. That's never going to happen.
As you know what I like to say about the NCAA, that makes too much sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Logical.
100%.
We're way too logical
thought
here.
out.
Yeah, it's positive downstream consequences.
We need like something with like 10% of that idea that still manages to screw over the fans a little bit and potentially the players just a bit more.
Yeah, it needs to. Yeah. Right.
We'll go back to the drawing board on that. But I'm really excited for now. I just like bowl games because it was always like come back over winter break. You don't have anything to do when you're in high school and college. Same thing. I mean, I was working on stuff, but like always would have one on in the background and just loved watching bowl games like growing up.
And it's like it's like Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
and you have the Bahamas Bowl on or something like
Yeah,
that.
Randy,
Randy
dang, it's nice outside, and when I walk outside, it's freezing.
Oh yeah. So Randy Peterson's like, I can't believe like Connor's just like so amped to go to Memphis.
Oh, I'm
you
pumped.
can't be that excited. And I'm like, no, I love it, dude. It's like definitely the best bowl game I've been to, and I just like that city.
I'm pumped. So this is
Yeah.
gonna be my first bowl game that I've gone to not as a player. So I get to go
Right.
and do all the fun stuff.
fun.
Memphis was like a cool. There's a lot of good food, and Beale Street was fun. Like when we were as a player, so I'm excited being a 21-year-old over 21 and
Yeah, being able to
not
actually go
having
down
a
there.
game and be able to go out and enjoy myself. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and I think the other cool thing we talked about this. So we recorded Kicking It yesterday. So it'll come out tomorrow. But one of the things that we talked about, and so I would imagine this is true with all of your bowl experience, is you get the thing from a player standpoint. And I would imagine they do that for fans, because I actually haven't been able to go down. I haven't been to any bowl games that aren't. Well, I take that back.
The fans don't also get PS5s, just so you know.
That's true. I didn't. I got a TV in 2009. Yeah,
that's big.
But that thing was heavy.
It's about 32 inches, 32-inch TV, and it was probably still like $400. But I actually did go to the one in Orlando. But the experience as a player is similar to that of a fan in that it's like a vacation where the entire area is super excited that you're there. Like you get the red carpet rolled out for you. As a player, it's more so than the fans, but there's still the university putting on like the pep rallies and then saying, hey, this is the Cyclone bar in town, or these are the restaurants that are, are trying to bring in Cyclones or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like you and like extended family, because you get to see all your, oh, that's Bill from Section 6, whatever. Like you get it's this really cool experience where like a whole territory, state, city, whatever, rolls out the red carpet for you. And it's, I don't know, no matter where you're going, because I went to Phoenix, Memphis, and New York, and it was the case like that in all three of them, where it was just the experience of a bowl game is super, super fun to be a part of.
And it's fun. Like for me, what I'm looking forward to is like going, like growing up in Ames, diehard Cyclone. Like for me, it's just, first of all, it's Iowa State being there. And then it's just be able to connect with Iowa State fans, like who are all happy to be there. Like they're all diehards. Like,
it's the
ones
ones
to have conversations like, oh, do you remember this game from blah 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 blah? And like I can start doing the same thing. Like maybe not as long as some of them, but like just the crazy games we went and sat through or talked about.
Dude, before Woody showed up, I didn't even know what bowl games were hardly. Like I barely knew what bowl wins were.
Right?
Until legitimate. It was the fifth. I think the Insight Bowl was maybe the fifth or sixth bowl game Iowa State had ever been to, and then we went to. They had only been to. That was the fourth. I think.
No.
Right.
So Iowa State had been to more bowl games in the 70s and 80s. What it was that the first win was the 2000 Insight Bowl.
Okay. And then we won again in 2009, which that would have been basically like half of all the wins in bowl games, and then you guys went to a lot more.
Yeah.
But it was going to 3 and 5 years, like that was wild.
Yeah, I think they had like 3 wins going into that Insight Bowl, 2 or 3, I believe.
Anyway,
no, you're close enough. What it was the 3 out of 4 years that had never happened before.
Yeah,
I remember that vividly. That was a big thing that they wanted to get.
What was your favorite bowl, like experience? Like what location was your favorite?
If you were to ask me at the time, it would be Phoenix, and I would still say like my bowl rankings, I would go Phoenix 1, New York 2, Liberty 3, but all of them are super, super cool. And I would say retrospectively, New York is cooler in hindsight than it was at the time, because the thing that you get annoyed with is traffic, just because like we had to be in a bus for an hour and a half each way, just because you're going through New York traffic to get to a football field that's actually can handle a college program. But we got to go things like to go to Ground Zero. We got to go to the Empire State Building. You got to go like the game was at Yankee Stadium, so you got this tour of Yankee Stadium. So like all these cool things, and like I've been to New York several times since then, and like me now, I wish that I would have had the knowledge of places that I should go or could go with the team. So like in the future to be able to say, hey, here are the cool places to go to. But New York was cool. Phoenix was cool because it was the only really like true warm weather bowl. Because I would imagine when you guys went to Phoenix too, like it's different when you get off the plane. You're like, it's 78 degrees versus New York or Memphis where it was like 45 and rainy when we were there. So that I would say Phoenix 1, New York 2, Liberty 3, but all really cool. What were yours?
Ooh, I feel like mine are going to be skewed because I feel like the Fiesta Bowl, like as far as game experience, the Fiesta Bowl was my favorite. Like go and win a New Year's 6 game, like that's sweet. However, COVID lockdown 2020, and like I think each player got like 4 or 6 tickets, and that was the only people in there. So it was literally like going from like playing in Jerry's World when it was like completely packed, to like the next week it's like, oh, I can see my mom, and like you could never see your parents. Like you never just pick them out in the stands. It's like, oh, I can see my parents because they're
There's
of the
200 people here.
Well, and they had like literally sections, so there'd be like 2 seats in a row, and then there'd be like two like zip locked up so people couldn't like zip tied up so people couldn't like sit like four next to each other people.
They had to have people go through and zip tie
Yes.
seats shut.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And they were
what
like
a dumb job.
They were mad if anybody had like come together. So like my parents and my sister and wife were all in the same room sharing a hotel room. But like if they would like kind of walk over in front of the zip tied seats, like they would like start getting yelled at because it's like, you're getting too close, COVID. And like they're like, we literally like sleep in the same room and we're gonna
be in the same car on the way home.
We're gonna go get drinks together with the rest of everyone else that's here because there's 200 people here. So that was kind of fun. So that kind of like, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. It was a shorter bowl trip because like you couldn't go do any of the fun stuff. But the game, the experience, winning New Year's Six Bowl,
kicking the shit out of Oregon.
Yeah, that was like, you couldn't beat that. San Antonio was an absolute blast. Like I cannot wait for Iowa State to go back to the Alamo Bowl because I will go and take a week there. Like that's Riverwalk.
So my father-in-law went to that one. He said that was the favorite because he's traveled to all of them. Yeah. And he said that was his favorite bowl as a spectator to go to.
It was so much fun. So much good food. Just so many things to do. I mean, it's just fun. Nice weather.
There's a zillion Iowa State fans down there.
Yeah. I would probably. I didn't hate Memphis. Like definitely wasn't venturing off Beale Street and stuff like that, but the Peabody's cool.
Yeah.
And then Orlando, I went there twice for the Camping World Bowl and then the Cheez-It Bowl. Those were both cool, but like, Orlando's such a unique city.
Yeah.
Like it's so big. It's so spread out.
Every driver in Orlando is an elderly person that doesn't know how to drive.
We were heading home from, I think Stansberry and I and my wife just got drinks at a restaurant outside of Universal Studios, and there was a traffic jam at 9:30 p.m. in Orlando, like bumper to bumper traffic jam at 9:30 p.m.
Well, and like the thing is, like we did some cool things. I can never remember the names of all the parks. We went to one of them, and it's like 2 or 3 days before the game, so it's like, all right, Universal. That's the one with like Harry Potter, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was that one. So it's like cool. Like yeah, sweet. This would be a fun time to go to. Do this, and you get to see it like during Christmas time and all that stuff. So that's super cool. But it's like, all right, am I gonna walk 7 miles around? Disney World, and
we stayed in a pretty bad spot in Memphis when we went, and because I was just like a student going out to drink and like help Chris out on the side as the intern.
Yeah,
like I was paying my own way and like just going down to party.
Yeah.
But the hotel we stayed in Orlando was like just bad. I remember we drove through the night and we got there and I was just like, I'm not usually like grossed out by hotel rooms at all. Like my mom did that growing up and I was like, yeah, I won't be like that ever.
Yeah.
And I just looked inside and I'm like, I had been up all night. I think I got 2 hours of sleep in the backseat of my friend's car on the way there. And I just started drinking beers at like 9:30 in the morning by the hotel pool.
Yeah.
That's just like, we're just staying outside today.
Yeah. No, and like I said, I mean, every one of them was an incredible experience. Like you get an extra month with that team, which like you can't take away for bowl prep, for the development of younger guys, but like definitely.
Especially with this Iowa State team, that couldn't be more true with how many key pieces are coming back, how many people are involved in this.
And I think the other thing that's really cool is not just that this is a young team in that it's the starters are young, the backups are really younger, and so you have like one of the things about the bowl experience, and so I think that people would be interested to know like what it's actually like when you're there, kind of practicing and whatever. Well, it's like somewhere between fall camp and middle of the season, like it's somewhere in between those two, and also layer in some spring ball in there. So it's like it's sort of just a mush of everything. So like in spring ball, if you're a guy who, like Alexander Robinson is a guy that comes to mind. A-Rob was a starting running back for forever. He was a stud, so good. But he was also, because he was the offense was so dependent on him running, he would get nicked up throughout the year. In spring ball, he would never do spring ball because we knew, hey, you ain't got anything to prove. Like, you're the starter. Let's make sure you're healthy through this. Let's not get you a torn ACL in spring ball. So he never participated in spring. Then during the fall camp, he was grinding. You're going live. He was doing that. Then you're during the season, still going live towards the end of the season. His live reps would taper back. And then in bowl prep, he didn't do anything live, anything full contact. A-Rob did none of it because he didn't have to. Like,
he was a star.
He is as good as he needs to be. We don't need to get you hurt. You're not going to get much better in these 2 weeks. So with A-Rob being a guy who doesn't play, there's a couple things, and like that's not unique to him. Like there's a bunch of different guys that like right into this year's team. Like I would imagine Malik Verdun falls in that camp. He's a really good player, but he's been dinged up twice this year. He has, the wrist or shoulder thing going on. He had that groin injury earlier in the year. He's probably a guy who's probably just not doing any live contact drills. What that means is take that times 15 guys. The guys that are third on the depth chart are now getting 2 reps, which is we would always go one offense versus 2 defense and 2 offense defense. And every once in a while you do ones and ones and twos and twos. But usually you're going against the number ones. This whole setup is actually how I first legitimately got my shot at getting a scholarship, which is A-Rob doesn't play. And so I get bumped up a line, and there was a couple other guys who, like Bo Williams, had taken himself kind of off of the depth chart because he wasn't really as responsible as he needed to be and whatever. So I was like the 4th guy. And so then A-Rob doesn't play, and then they move the backup up to be a starter, and then I end up being like the 2nd guy that's going with the 2s. So I think James White might have been the other one. So James White takes the first 3 reps with the 2s against the 1 defense. Well, I get the next 3 reps with the 2s against the 1 defense. So I'm going up against the starters in this like scrimmage situation. It was in thud tempo, but I'm a walk-on dude. I'm getting playing against the 1s. This ain't thud.
Yeah.
So I ended up, James Smith, he still talks trash to me about, he was like, it was thud, man. But I trucked the starting safety, like straight up, Madden truck stick, shoulder, and then the whole sideline, they're losing it. Yancey's losing it, whatever. Everybody's really excited. That opportunity wouldn't have happened without bowl season.
Yeah.
Because A-Rob wouldn't have been like held back as much. I wouldn't have been going up against the number 2s. Well, because of that, then they gave me more reps as we kept going. Coming into spring, they had enough respect for me and what I could do. They actually then put me as, I'm a 2, because A-Rob was still coming back that next year. I was getting 2 reps, going against the 1 defense, and started to do well there and got a scholarship by the end of the year. So like that bowl season for guys like me, where I was way down the depth chart, you get shots that you otherwise wouldn't. And the coaches then get to see that it benefits me because I get to be on the field, but it also benefits them because, like, I don't want to say this arrogantly, but like you miss out on me if you don't get to see me do it. They wouldn't have had me on the field because I would have just been some other random walk on.
No,
so you get to see all these guys kind of rise to the top and get chances they otherwise wouldn't during bowl season.
For the past 2 minutes, I've been trying to formulate, if you think bowl games don't matter, then Iowa State wouldn't have Jeff Woody or win over Oklahoma State.
Well, I mean, they still probably could have.
And
I helped, but
yeah.
Anyway.
I agree.
No, you won. You made the game-winning touchdown, Jeff.
Yeah, but
you can brag about that.
James did.
I'm allowing you. I'm giving you the pass. You can brag about it.
No, I mean, I will take some. I will take some credit, but that was much more a team win than it was a meat win. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I can't agree more. Like, especially when you're a young guy or even a guy that's like 2nd, 3rd, and you're just fighting. Like the coaches care about the players so much. Like they are going to dive into every single kid, make sure that they're in a good spot, make sure that they're doing what's best for the kid. But like in the middle of the season, their objective is to play the best guy
and they need to win. Yeah,
and make sure the best guy is playing at all times so you can win. So not that they're like overlooking anybody or not developing people, but a majority of their time is going to go towards that first guy, a little bit less towards the 2nd guy, a little bit less towards the 3rd guy, and a little bit less towards the 4th guy. So you then all of a sudden, like, it's like, hey, you take these starters pretty much out of it. Like for a couple weeks, like starters are getting limited reps. They're maybe going individual, pads off, like get your body feeling good, make sure you're functioning well, your body's moving right, because you don't want an injury in a bowl game.
Right, and maybe there's a guy like Brendan Black is probably a guy, he might actually still be in all full contact stuff because he hasn't had as many reps as Hufford.
Yeah.
Like,
or just maybe less limited. Maybe he's getting 5 reps in a 5 contact reps in a day, as opposed to Hufford, who probably isn't taking any contact, or Jake Remsburg or someone like that. So there's definitely is that transition, but like it also allows those guys to like set the standard. Like, hey, like these guys have seen the standard now. These 2s and 3s have seen the standard. Now they're the ones that are upholding it when these other guys are in and maybe getting a lift in or doing recovery or anything like that. So it's huge. And it's also time for these coaches to say, hey, you get 20 plays today of a live reps. Show me what you can do. Hey, number 3, that now you're the number 2. You get 20 plays today. Show me what you can do, because you know, you've been running a scout team, you've been running someone else's offense. Well, that's been making you better, but now you get an opportunity to prove it.
And did you guys, during the season, did you guys do developmental scrimmages ever?
Did. Yep.
Yeah, so we did that too, but you're playing against other developmental guys. Like, it's a 3s versus 3s or development versus development, where every once in a while, you know, like Carson Hansen, well, he's not necessarily a great example. Let's say Carson Hansen, for the sake of a running back example. Well, he's going up against the other like freshmen or red shirts or, you know, walk-on guys.
Yeah.
And his reads aren't the same. It's not as fast. So like maybe you're tearing up developmental scrimmages, which is great, get you a better shot at, you know, playing against something else. But then you actually get to go against the 1s or the 2s in these situations. And like developmental scrimmages are great. That's, you know, you get your chance to like rise to the top of that. But actually getting live reps against 1s and 2s, it's totally different.
Well, and you legitimately get 3 or 4 days a week of like getting into a rhythm, running 20 plays, running a 5-10 play drive, opposed to like, you know, sticks, whatever it may be. Like you get to drive a ball the entire length of the field and play a football game. And then you also get to like, you know, it's not 3 plays and you can never get in your rhythm or anything like that. It's like you get your shot and you get your opportunity. Like bowl games for a program for development. I mean, our team is extremely unique in that we are so young, but we're going to be developing so much depth. And then it's also like these guys are finally getting their opportunity. They've been grinding on scout team, running the opposing team's offense or defense or special teams all year. Now they get to like actually be like, hey, I've been listening to like how Iowa State operates their offense and defense and special teams. Like I can show you I can do this. And then that's like you said, like huge opportunity. Maybe they get to play some in a bowl game from a guy that we don't know. But also it's going to project or traject them into spring ball. Like they're going to know when it's all back to Iowa State. Like, hey, we're not worried about Memphis. We're not worried about Texas. We're not worried about Iowa. Like, we're worried about Iowa State. Be the best Iowa State can be. And I think Campbell does a great job of making this time known as like, hey, we're working on Iowa State right now. We're not all of a sudden just going to spend a month and a half preparing for Memphis.
Yeah,
like,
and that's
we're going to be prepared.
And that's usually how it happens. So like I think another thing that people might not get. So the last game, what was the date of the last game? Like December 3rd or something like that? December 8th?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the next bowl game's not till December 29th. Like you have a month.
Yeah.
More or less.
November 25th.
November 25th. So you have a month between your last game and this one. You're not.
I was gonna say like because I see this like, I guess a take, for lack of a better term, out there that the difference between 5-7 and no bowl game and 6-6 and going to a bowl game is minuscule, but it's like completely the opposite. You'd have a 7-week break from your last game if you don't go to a bowl game, don't play in a conference title.
And it just feels worse. You know, like you got to say, you have to say goodbye to your teammates basically in the locker room. Be like, all right, see ya.
It's pretty much a cherry on top. Like it's truthfully another week or another 5-6 weeks that you get to spend with those guys. Like you get to go finish. Like
you're fitting a mini vacation into the whole deal.
Yeah, you didn't win your conference championship, which is the goal every year. But like you still get an opportunity to go out there and like have a celebratory, like, hey, like we finished this thing off. Like this is how you want to finish something off, with one game that you're not guaranteed.
Yeah, and so like the logistics inside of there is a week where you just won't practice. Like, because I don't know how much you guys did during finals week. We had like maybe
lift.
like a lift or a walkthrough or something like that a couple times. But like during finals week, I don't think we practiced at all. Maybe once, like very little.
Yeah.
So there's one of those weeks in there you just throw out because it's finals week. But the practices the first couple weeks it's like that spring ball, fall camp kind of hybrid where it's just Iowa State. It doesn't matter if you're playing Memphis or Georgia. Like you are just scheming yourself. Like you are just practicing, polishing what you do. It's your defense versus your offense. Then when you come back from finals, then it starts to become like kind of slowly introducing Memphis into it, where you might do like before practice, you go through a walkthrough on their pressures, but then you're still going to do Iowa State stuff during the day. But then you get to be a week and a half out. And like, if they're practicing right now I bet they're full Memphis. Like they've got they're running back to running scout. They're back to, running their walkthroughs. Their meetings are all about Memphis. They're watching themselves less, watching Memphis more. So it transitions from Iowa State on Iowa State to somewhat like mostly Iowa State introducing Memphis to then being full Memphis by the time the bowl game's over. So like that last part, that's more or less just like a game week. Like it's fine, but it's more or less a game week. It's the first 3 weeks-ish that you get all that Iowa State on Iowa State stuff. That's the big benefit of the bowl game. And then when you're truly working just all Memphis, like that's the party. Like you're you're at the bowl site. You go there 7 days ish in advance. Like you're practicing in the morning, but then you're going to race go-karts in the afternoon. And then you're practicing in the morning, and then you're going to go do a giant team dinner at this restaurant they rent out for you in the afternoon. Like by the time you get to Memphis, it's a party.
Yeah. So we would have maybe one like more physical, like a true big sweat practice at the bowl site. But like your majority, you want to pretty much have everything in by the time you get then you're just like polishing the rock, right? Like you're making it look good. Like you're gonna get your legs because you still need to get some leg movement. You're gonna travel. It's gonna be a little bit different schedule than we're used to for a bowl game. But then like that night before, like it's like locked back into like, hey, this is the exact same as if we were gonna play at Texas or Kansas or whatever. Like you lock it back in that day before. Team split
just feels the same.
Yeah, team separates a little bit. So some of those guys that aren't gonna travel on the travel squad, maybe go out to dinner that night, and then like the travel guys will sit down, have a normal dinner like we would at any other bowl or game, and then get back locked in meetings that night, go to bed, wake up, do your breakfast, all that stuff. So it locks back into like, hey, like if you want to win this game, we're taking it seriously. Like that is every single time Iowa State's objective is to go win that bowl game.
For sure. And I'm really excited to watch. Memphis has just a really stout offense. They score
7th in the country in points.
Yeah, they're the lowest point total they've had this year is 28 against Navy.
So here's a fun fact. Again, spoiling something from Kicking It. It's going to come out tomorrow. Memphis has been held under 35 points 4 times. They've lost 3 of them. So it's a team that absolutely, for those, and we're going to do a bowl preview show that's going to come out in the 26th, I think. But it's a team that wants to be super high octane. They don't run a ton of plays. They're just very effective in what they do. They run everything through their quarterback. He's like 7th in completions and 12th in yards and like super high production from the quarterback. But their defense isn't great, which I would rather be playing. This is Aiden's thought, which is I would rather play that team than playing a team like Iowa, in that Iowa's defense is great and their offense is trash. Well, if Memphis's offense is great and their defense isn't strong, well, Iowa State's strength is their defense. So it's your strength on their strength and your quote weakness on their weakness versus the inverse of that. Yep. And so then is your strength better than theirs? And it feels like that's something that Iowa State has been able to do well. Like look at Kansas State. Now, granted, it was a snow game, but you look at Kansas State. Kansas State's offense was their strength. Their defense was a bit of a question mark, and Iowa State ended up being able to, out boat race them to that win. Yeah. So this feels like a decent matchup from an actual like football X's and O's standpoint, because it's strength on strength. Iowa State's defense versus Memphis offense, and then quote weakness, which is Iowa State's offense to their defense. But it feels like Iowa State's offense is better proportionally than Memphis's defense. So it'll be. I think it's going to be a fun game.
Another interesting thing about this game is obviously Joe Skates, right? Everyone knows him, gone down there, and he's had pretty good season down there, I think. And then Jeff Myers, the offensive line coach for Memphis, was my offensive line coach the entire time I was here. So it's going to be kind of interesting for some of those matchups as well.
I'm really interested. They have their leading wide receiver at Memphis is named Rock.
ROC, right?
Yeah, just
not
ROC.
even Rock. It's not even like
it's not really typical.
It's off-brand Rocco.
Yeah, it's Rockefeller. Oh.
Yeah.
Hove.
What are you doing?
Rock Nation, man.
What's that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a young.
It's
I know what you're talking about, man.
It's Jay-Z's company.
Don't feel bad.
Gotcha.
Brett Yormark, wasn't he?
Yeah. Brett Yormark wasn't he the CEO of Rock Nation?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. The CEO of Rock Nation. That's why Jay-Z's a billionaire. It's not because of his music. It's because of Rock Nation.
This makes more sense now. Wow. I probably know it. I just haven't watched the documentary.
It's not even a documentary. This is just.
No, I guarantee there's
Am I right to be exasperated here?
Yeah, I mean, you made a good
no,
point.
I'm just going to get flummoxed on this. Jeez. Unbelievable. If I saw it with more context, yeah.
I'm sitting over. I'm like but I'm like the worst example of like up to times with that type of stuff. Like, nope.
I know more about the 2019 SoFi Hawaii Bowl than I do whatever.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Said. Yeah, Zach Wilson playing for BYU in Hawaii. Go back and watch that. That was one of the best football games of all time. I swear to God.
That'd be a sweet bowl game to go to.
The Hawaii Bowl?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
That's why if the draft thing without the conference affiliations to it Like that's what, because all these like teams like Iowa goes to a bowl every year. Iowa State's starting to go to bowl games every year. At least like the last 7.
The Bahamas Bowl
and
the Hawaii Bowl.
You start repeating games.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's
rematch of Iowa versus Iowa State.
dumb.
Everyone in the state would travel to it. It could be in stinking
Or
Canada, and every Iowa
Well,
State.
the
and Iowa fan
Bahamas
would-
Bowl is famous because like you could just walk up with a case of beer supposedly and just hand a couple to the ticket usher and he just lets you in.
Oh, well,
Someone
that's
from
such a
Reddit
party.
did that a couple years ago.
That's a party.
it
man.
always seems like a lot of those smaller bowls like that too. Like nobody's there, so it's like, hey, let's at least make it a good matchup and make people travel to it.
Yeah. There's no downside.
I think we've swayed the public's opinion.
There's no downside
today. Do we need to? Did you want to? How deep was your kicking it preview on?
We went a decent bit. Okay. We had a guy from Memphis on, and kind of went into a little bit on Memphis, but I don't know. I would be interested to the thing I'd be interested because you actually played for Jeff Myers. Like, what do you
I was gonna
do? You
ask about
feel
that
like
too.
he's gonna come? Do you think there's any insider information that he's gonna be able to pull from that because it's a new offense?
I feel like there's been like Iowa State runs a lot of the same things. Every college football coaches knows football, right? Like it's not like he's gonna be like, oh, they teach them this, that, the other. Like this is what they're running. Like our scheme is different. How we call the plays is different. How we like that. Everyone has wristband now. Like Coach Myers doesn't know anything about that. Like maybe he'll know a little bit about guys, but like it's also been an entire football season where they've developed under different coaching. So like maybe some bad habits have been broken that he knew about, but like I truly don't think it'll be the only thing he'll have is probably like motivation. To
that's what
like,
I was gonna say. Do you feel like
they
there's
don't
gonna
think
be a little
anything
bit
of you like when we came down here, like we were like, oh, it's like you know what I mean, like stuff like that like any coach can make up a thing, but his maybe just will have a little more because he was part of the other side at one point.
Yeah. Do you feel like he's gonna have a little bit of a revenge streak, or do you feel like it's sort of like understands it's part of the business of being a coach?
I mean, I feel like everyone would have a little bit of like revenge in them, like, but I
think it's completely understandable.
I think
to
it's
have a bit of both of
understandable,
those.
but I think that everyone in the coaching business also knows that it's a business. Like you don't get into coaching being like, "Hey, I'm gonna."
My job security is great. I'm gonna spend 30 years with this same company.
Like, isn't Campbell like the longest tenured Big 12 coach?
Second longest to
behind
Gundy. Yeah.
So like, right there, like everyone knows that. I mean, like you don't hear of Kirk Ferentz's lasting how many ever years. You don't hear of Bill Snyder's lasting how many ever like. You don't see like there's always this massive turnover because it's win right now. So I think every coach has that knowledge, but certainly I'm sure there's anyone would be like, oh well, I left this place or whatever the situation happened, and
more storyline than reality.
yes, yeah.
I also wanted to say I can't wait for the Liberty Bowl to get this renovation done. Have you guys seen the renderings of it?
The stadium.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, it's an audio medium, so we're not really going to be able to put this up in the listener's ears. So you'd have to describe, okay, so now the gables are going to be this terrific marble.
I'll do it. This is a challenge that we're going to try to undertake. So like, it has a blue light around the top of the kind of ribbon board type deal. Look at that, Jeff.
So is this a renovation of the current stadium, or is it building a brand new one?
I think it's a renovation of the current stadium.
They did
because it is
need
shaped
a
like that.
renovation,
That part,
wasn't
I think, is
wasn't
new.
the nicest stadium when we played there.
and it was cold.
It was that was
we did.
That was the. I mean, ours. It was like 45 and rainy. It was sort of the weather that we had when we were down
I think
there.
we're supposed to be mid 50s. Is
Ayo.
that right?
If it's
50?
56-ish.
Yeah, that's gonna feel
if
unbelievable.
it's sunny and mid 50s, I mean, that's beautiful. If you're able to get that.
Hey, I was 14 years old. I needed it. Who's the quarterback when you played
Steele?
in the Liberty Bowl? Yeah,
Barnett.
Didn't someone get hit by a car or like run over on a scooter?
No,
Was the quarterback sick for the Liberty Bowl?
no, not that I
What
can
am I
recall.
thinking of?
I don't know.
I might be thinking of the other Liberty Bowl.
You want to know something crazy?
There was a rumor of Sam Richardson being sick that
Thank
morning.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, you take that back. Yes, he was.
That's what it
yes,
was.
Yes, he was.
I don't know why I can't
Yes, he
remember
was.
that today.
Who did
My
you guys
bad,
play in the Liberty Bowl?
Tulsa.
So want to know something crazy? There's like a pawn shop around there, some maybe even on like or a pawn shop or a memorabilia shop on Beale Street. When we went there in 2017, there was a Iowa State versus Tulsa watch that someone had pawned off, like the bull watches that you get, and it was still there. Like, what year was that you guys had that?
Oh, it was 2012 when we went.
So 5 years later, it was still there. And I remember, like, we were like, "Oh my gosh, like, what's the story of this?" And like, "Oh, some Iowa State player brought it in here and like tried to pawn it off, and like, and we're like, oh, it's still here."
God. That's funny.
I wonder if like some Iowa State fan picked it up this last time, or
hey, if it's there, find that pawn shop and see if it's still there.
Right?
If there's still the Iowa State versus Tulsa.
I'm gonna go buy it.
Bull watch.
because that's
Oh
like
my
why I
God.
asked you. I'm like, okay, I know, because Iowa State had been to the Liberty Bowl.
This is
before.
the third time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like,
Yeah, that
what
was-
are the chances of like us walking in there and like actually seeing it? Because it's like one of those stores where there's like crap everywhere, and most of it's like
Crap.
crap.
Yeah.
But then like we see this, like it's like literally still like in like a jewelry like lock cabinet. I'm like, gosh, you guys have been holding on to this since 2012.
That's a heads up move to get some cash for your bull vacation real quick.
Right? No kidding. Holy
I
buckets.
I think I still have that thing. I have a chest that has all like the shit in it. I still have a glass. We got a glass from the Liberty Bowl, and I have some of like the coffee stir sticks had a duck on them. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Like little stir sticks had a duck on them. So I have like
Did you guys stay in the Peabody as well?
and watch the ducks march into the thing.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Do you have the duck soap?
Yes, we still have the duck soap. Had the duck stir stick in like a glass, like an actual glass. It's like a gold rim on it.
Yeah.
It has like the logo on it in our schedule.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I still have that. I got plenty of. Still have plenty of stuff from that.
I should go through my stuff again.
No, I did remember it right. You guys played Tulsa in the season opener and then played them in the bowl game too.
It was the next year? I thought we played them in 2013. Did we play in 2012?
You might have opened.
I thought we played them in 2013.
You might have played them again.
And
in
we went
13.
to Tulsa. We won. I had 3 touchdowns in that game. I remember that. I had
No big deal.
I remember
but
that
No,
too.
this is a crazy stat.
No,
line.
but you
I
did
remember
play him in the season
I think I
opener in
had
12.
I think it was either 6 carries for 9 yards and 3 touchdowns, or 9 carries for 6 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think it was the 6 carries for 9 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Woody.
That feels like a pretty that's a pretty apt stat line.
Yeah.
Well, I had been thinking like Woody's kind of fallen off lately for us, but we'll always have that Oklahoma State game. And I was like, oh, real efficient game out of Woody tonight.
Yeah, averaging like
Imagine
0.6 yards a carry. And 3
Imagine if they would
touchdowns.
have given you the ball more.
I know.
How much would have scored?
I mean, just 70
carries,
touchdowns a game.
6 carries, 12 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yep. There you go. 2 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns. That's my
Devondrick
best stat line.
Neely, that's a guy that existed.
Did he have kick return touchdown?
Maybe not.
There wasn't that game. I know
Not
he
in
had a
that
kick return-
specific
he
game.
had a-
I'm looking at one game right
He
now.
had a kick
I
return
apologize.
touchdown in that year. Remember that?
Didn't Jeremy Reeves have a pick 6?
In the Tulsa game?
Yeah,
Probably.
he was my guy. I love him.
Dude,
like
Jeremy
Reeves.
Reeves, he's the most athletic person that I've ever. Him and like pure holy shit athletic. Jeremy Reeves is the most athletic person that I've ever. He was 4'2", 40 guy.
Over Will McDonald?
I've never met or like interacted with Will McDonald in person, but he was a 4.28 laser timed 40. He was a 42.5-inch standing vertical and still had like 16 reps on 225 bench press, and he was like 5'7", like 175 pounds.
Yeah, that's
if he was like 3 inches taller, he'd be, I mean, a Pro Bowl NFL corner. He's freak athlete.
Who's your other guy? Should get
Ethan
two.
Tufty was the other one. He
Really?
was an
Okay.
offensive lineman.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Dude,
that.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, Tufty. What a block. He was, so Tufty, we would do power factor and power index, which are 2 things that Yancey would do. So power factor would be, I don't remember, I forget which one is which, but one is your jumping capacity for your body weight, and one is your lifting capacity per your body weight. So usually that would be like, if a linebacker, like Jake Knott got it one year because Jake was a freak strong and he was 240 pounds. So like, he's a 600-pound back squatter or whatever, and bench press 450 and whatever. So Jake got that for one. Jeremy Reeves got it one of the years, but our senior year, Tufty got both power factor and power index at 330 pounds, which is insane. So he has a 330-pound guard who had a 33.5-inch vertical. We don't even know what his back squat was because we couldn't find a bar that could hold it. He hit 800 easy.
Oh,
and then
I thought it was always Kalechi and Oni that were the biggest ones.
Oni was, or KO, because his limbs were so long, wasn't a great lifter. Yeah. Stupid strong, but he's so long that like lifting weight that long. He was a 400-pound bench guy, but like compared that to everybody else, like he was like 5th or 6th. Oni was stupid strong in the squat, but Tufty could out squat Oni.
Really?
And
Okay.
then Tufty was a 500-pound bench guy, 400-pound power clean, 800-pound squatter. We have no idea how much his back squat actually truly would have been, because we literally, the 1 year he maxed out the bars that we had, and then they bought another bar called the elephant bar, which was bigger and thicker to be able to actually hold more weight, max that one out. We have no idea what Tufty could have squatted.
What the elephant bar hold at the max?
It was 800. It was like 795 or something like that. It's just easier to round up to 800. I mean, it is unbelievable, stupid strong. Like, he just had knee problems. Like, he had tore his ACL twice, had like meniscus
Probably
problems.
because he's squatting 800 pounds.
7 billion pounds. I mean, Tufty is the absolute freak. Tufty and Jeremy Reeves are the two freakiest athletes. I would imagine Will and Brees are pretty in that category too.
100%.
Because Brees is
just freak.
Wasn't he a 40.5-inch, 41-inch vertical too?
I don't know. Probably nothing. I mean, nothing of that stuff like surprised me. It's just like, wow, how high did you jump? Good job. Keep jumping higher.
I can just picture you saying that and just being like, I can't do that.
Isn't
Yeah,
it when you watch a guy like Brees, and I would imagine Will jumped, I think he's like 38.5 too. When I was watching Reeves jump, like, it felt like somebody was picking him up.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
Because
you like watch them jump, and it's like, how did you
like? And they're still going up. At the time, your brain is telling you that they should be down, they're still rising.
Yes.
And it looks like in your head, you're like, what type like freaking gravity boots do you have to like still keep moving?
How much
upward?
force do you generate to like not just come right back down and immediately? Like that you can float up actually instead of just like
continuing. It's insane. I mean, just to watch the athleticism of those guys. I mean, I'm curious to see. I mean, we can probably make this last thing that we're talking about because it's an already long podcast. Is like, if TJ Tampa plays, I hope he does not. Like, personally, I hope he doesn't, because it doesn't feel like there's that much upside for him. And like, you think about like Brees didn't play in the bowl game. Would he have helped in that bowl game? Sure would have. I bet Iowa State beats Clemson if Brees plays. But he also then might have hurt his ACL, his ankle, whatever. Doesn't become the pick that he is to get the contract that he got. There's more downside than upside. And like, it would be different with TJ if he's playing against a guy like last year's Zay Flowers for Boston College. Like, a guy that's predicted to be a first-round pick. If Zay Flowers is playing and TJ Tampa's on the other side, I bet both of them then play, because they have a chance to like, hey, I beat this guy. Because I think TJ is right now like the 4th or 5th corner, which is probably puts him in like 2nd round. So he could probably float up to the 1st, potentially.
Imagine what an AutoZone Liberty Bowl MVP would get you, though.
But no. But like, if he's
instant first rounder,
but like, if he's going up against Zay Flowers, then yes, you play in that game, because there is an upside. You winning that matchup is great film. That literally could push you up in draft,
especially late in the year.
But there is just nobody on Memphis's roster that's that level. There's still probably a good number of draft picks on this Memphis team, especially on offense. But there's nobody.
Rock.
But there's it's like Rock. But there's probably there's no Zay Flowers in my mind. So like, TJ playing, it would be confirming what people already know if he has a great game. And worst case scenario,
you're just putting question marks.
Right. If he has a bad game, even if he doesn't get hurt, then you just add negativity to it. So I hope, for his sake, he doesn't play. But I'd be interested to see what he tests like, because he's probably going to run fast, but he's going to jump higher. He's going to jump like,
and he's going to be crazy long.
I'm excited to see what he does at like Senior Bowl and Combine.
That stuff is will be so much better for him.
So I hope that he doesn't play. If he plays, I will be holding my breath the entire time. Like, it just to me, it's not worth it. Like, I hope that number 2 doesn't suit up.
For sure. One last thing, then we'll let you all go. Your boy's gonna win MVP.
Geesh, I hope so.
You're gonna go out and party with him if he does?
Oh my gosh, that would be an absolute blast. It's absolutely crazy to see.
You got to bring him on this show if he does.
4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like, minus money right now on betting odds to win it. I saw Bloom tweeted like, and then like Dak didn't have a good game. They went out.
You think they'll hold him out the last week of the season? I haven't looked at the standings or anything.
If they have the number 1 seed locked up, yes. They sit everybody, because you saw what happened when Trent Williams and Debo. And they had one
Chris McCaffrey.
Well, McCaffrey's played, but like with Trent Williams and Debo, when they were out earlier in the year and they lost 3 straight because they didn't have all the pieces. I mean,
and
sit those guys.
With how destructive the NFL has been this year,
we
had Jake Browning against Nick Mullins.
Well, and last night Jalen Hurts playing with the flu against Drew Lock. Like,
yeah,
Drew Lock. Okay, every time Drew Lock does anything positive in life, I retweet that video of him rapping on the sidelines. It's ridiculous. I have a problem. I
saw
think
that.
he could successfully walk across the street and help an old lady get to the other side, and I'd retweet that video.
but like, yeah, if he absolutely rest him.
Yeah.
But no, that's wild. One of the things that's funny is when like the Cam Newton thing of like, oh, he's a game manager. Like, okay, can I just say like one thing just from literally aside from the fact that then Cam later said like, you can't tell me that I wouldn't start in front of Brock. Okay, that tells me where that story is coming from, which is just.
Did you see the Facebook comment?
The Dan
under
McCartney
that post?
Facebook
Comment
comment
from Dan McCartney.
Quit eating the gummies or
the
whatever.
A+. But like, okay, can we just talk about the concept of a game manager, which is a game manager. If you're being a game manager, that means you're probably winning.
Yeah.
Because every play has designed reads that you're supposed to get through. If a play runs successfully, it should be an easy completion. If you have nothing but easy completions, that means you're making the right read, you're delivering the ball on time, and you're delivering the ball on rhythm to whomever the playmaker is.
And you have balanced offense.
And you have a balanced offense. It doesn't matter where that throw goes to. Kurt Warner, when they were running the greatest show on turf, was a game manager. There are times when you have to throw the ball down the field, like he did. I didn't see this Arizona game, but like the game against the Seahawks when he just, bombed 150 yards to Debo. Like at some point you have to do that.
Yeah.
But usually if you have to freestyle as much as someone like a Cam Newton does, because you missed the first two reads, it's not a good thing when you have to go around and do it. Like Lamar against the Jaguars was exceptional. But he also missed a lot of open receivers which made it look crazy. Now, granted, he has the ability. Lamar is like the other guy who I think it's Lamar and Brock are like the two guys that should be the MVP conversation. But like those two guys, Lamar in most games looks like Brock. Like in most games that they're on rhythm, Lamar ain't doing anything. And he shouldn't do anything because if you have the capacity to get the ball to Odell 20 yards down the field or run it 6 yards down the field, throw it 20. Yeah. So like every quarterback, if the thing is in rhythm and the offense is functioning as it should, you are a game manager. Everybody. Lamar, Jalen Hurts, everybody's a game manager. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, everybody's a game manager. And to be that means you are doing the right things. How the hell can you knock a guy for keeping your offense in rhythm, making the right read, making the right throw?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. By not doing that and making that like scramble out of pocket, whatever type play, it's because you probably missed a read.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing. Now, the capacity to do it, great, awesome. Lamar, freak. But I would imagine Lamar probably watched Brock Purdy's film and goes, I want to be like that because that means you're reading everything right. That is just
have the stressful face situations.
Grant Scripes, man. This is a Grant Scripes.
Grant Scripes.
All right. Well, we won't be back next Tuesday because we'll be going to Memphis. But I think
it's Christmas.
after that,
it's day after Christmas.
Yeah,
it's day after Christmas.
Yeah, anyway. It's a travel day. Anyway, but we will see you in a few Tuesdays. I think it'll be the new year. But thank you guys for listening all season. And I think one episode left. So hopefully we'll go out with a bang.
Season wrap up.
Beat Memphis.
If he wins MVP, you got to get him on. We're claiming him for our show. No one. Chris doesn't get him. Brent doesn't get him. We get him on this show.
Let's figure it out.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.